I'm going to sleep.
They better want
so good night, guys.
Because it wasn't for us, and we'd have let fascism go in there, and they'd be speaking bloody German and Italian all over the place, wouldn't they?
I think they do.
Huh?
I think they do.
What?
They do speak German and Italian.
Why?
I don't know. They just couldn't be bothered to come up with their own language, and they chose that one, I suppose. Or they chose those.
What's the point of being foreign if you don't speak English?
I've no idea. You'd have to ask them.
That's mental.
I don't know.
What would I do if I went there?
You wouldn't. Why would you go?
They don't speak the language.
If you're going to have to choose a language to speak, choose
English. Even the Dutch, they've got their own language, but they don't speak it because it sounds silly.
Yeah.
So they speak English.
Of course they do.
You see, Dutch people, so in Amsterdam, with clogs on, they'd be chatting in English.
In English,
yeah.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Oh God, I was there once, and there was a mouse.
Right.
It's just there on the stair. It was a little mouse with clogs on.
Yeah. Where?
On there. on the stair, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so, that's languages. We learned about languages, didn't we? I'm not a linguist, but I pretty much think that's what happens.
I'll tell you something I learned in the week.
Go on.
Yeah. This will be one thing. He did definitely learn only one thing this week.
It's a good one, though.
Don't insult Suzanne's hair.
I learned two things
on.
this week.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't put your trousers on over your head. Because I know you were persevering with that for a while.
Mercury may look nice, but bad for you. Go on.
There are more moves on a chessboard
than particles in the universe.
That puts you off learning it, doesn't it?
Well, no, it's a possibility.
No, they said it is. It is. It said that's...
Yes, that's right. It's a possibility, because it's basically that it tends towards infinity, because no two games are the same. So it's not that you've got to learn that many moves.
It's not that good.
I don't wish to criticise Rick, because I know you were trying to inform him then. It's a good job you're not a teacher, because as you gabbled the phrase, it tends towards infinity, it kind of came out as...
Okay, yeah.
Imagine if you're one of those kind of foreign students who's gone here to study, and sometimes they put the tape recorder by the lecturer.
Yeah.
Listen back to that, remember? It's something towards infinity, I'm not sure. It tends towards infinity.
It is talking about tense. I not understand. Cuckoo.
So, we've all
had a good time.
We've all had a good few
We've had a great time.
Can I just say to everyone, have a great Saturday.
Alright, see you later.
You like the Thorns, you played the Thorns
Love
earlier.
the Thorns.
I think you'll enjoy this as an old track from Hawksley Workman.
Brilliant.
Bad name, good song.
See you next week.
From the Figure 4 Online Studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington, exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com, you're listening to The Brian and Vinny Show with your hosts, Brian Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
And Craig. All right, everybody, it's the Brian Vinny Show, October 24, 2017, figure4online.com/wrestlingobserver.com. Celebrating Big Dave Meltzer's birthday today. Actually, I was going to bury him.
Oh.
Did you see what he wrote in the Observer this week, 19 years ago?
Can't say that I did.
He buried the performances of Vince McMahon. What in the world's going on here?
No one's right every time.
Oh, my God. Just after, it was like 2 weeks ago, I talked about how Vince was the greatest character ever in the history of pro wrestling.
You're not wrong.
And then I had to read this. I couldn't even believe it. Although I will say, I saw the Ric Flair 30 for 30. Vince, I guess, the second greatest character. After I watched that Flair thing.
He's not a character, Brian.
Yeah, that's a person.
Well, no, you just watch it.
The lines are blurred.
Once you watch, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
I see.
Ric Flair is no longer Richard Fleer.
Mm-hmm.
He's never met the man, according to Shawn Michaels. He doesn't even know who he is. It's great.
Didn't Flair say that in a promo and no one knew what he was talking about? It was the Carlito promo.
May have been.
There's a moment in the Carlito promo where he's tearing Carlito a new one. He says, I don't even know who I am anymore.
Yeah, but Michael's point was, well, I guess it's the same thing, yeah. I guess Ric Flair knew who he was before he became Ric Flair. But after he became Ric Flair, he was just Ric Flair till the end of time.
Got it.
He never could go back. Although I guess he's trying now, after he nearly died.
Right.
All right, let's talk about these retro shows here.
Retro Raw number 283, October 26th, 1998.
Let me tell you something about this show, going back 19 years, that I've learned. Their storytelling has always sucked. This is not a new thing. Am I wrong?
No.
We got the final chapter of a 20-part story on the show, and we do not get chapters 1 through 19.
It's not even that, but we'll get into it during the show. But there's so much stuff on the show that just doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the place just goes crazy for it.
Right.
So they didn't learn any lessons.
No.
Why should they?
Just kept doing it.
They were making money hand over fist.
It began with Steve Austin arriving at the building earlier today, all smiles. And then in the building, Vince McMahon and his crew came out with plentiful legal representation. Vince was so pissed. He says he held Austin responsible for everything terrible that had happened to him. He blamed the fans too. My God, what's the matter with you people? I've lost all faith in humanity. His voice is cracking. Then he growled as he asked what happened to their values and morals. So the fans had cheered Austin as Austin had made him beg, made him cry, made him urinate himself. On the verge of tears, recapping all this humiliation. Then it occurred to him nobody had come to his aid, and he started barking at his cronies. He said the letter Austin had jammed into his pocket was a legal document, but he and his attorneys were ready to fight Austin to the Supreme Court. Then Austin appeared on the big screen, said Vince was a big baby, needed a diaper. Vince was outraged, ordered himself wheeled away. I know it's an evergreen statement, but Vince was outstanding here.
He's always outstanding. He's the best. There were so many signs about Vince peeing his pants this week.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere.
So after the break, Vince orders his attorneys and their comb-overs to find a way to break Austin's document. X-Pac versus Steve Blackman for the prestigious European title. Hit a good match for about 4 minutes, and then Steve Regal ran out and attacked X-Pac for the DQ.
Not quite. William Regal, or Steve Regal, or whatever he was this week, he runs down and he starts beating the shit out of X-Pac outside the ring. He's punching him, he's kicking him, he's beating his ass. The ref runs out there and he's trying to pull the guy off. It wasn't until DX ran down and a brawl broke out that the referee finally signaled for the bell. I don't know, maybe he was too busy earlier, but it sure seemed to me like he was going to let this go until too many men got involved.
The announcers made mention that Chyna had taken a leave of absence.
A leave of absence?
Until her issues with Mark Henry are cleared up, legal issues.
Clearly not a leave of absence. I'm sure it was just a series of days off. Typical stupid Raw finish.
Yes. Including, by the way, Steve Blackman didn't care about any of this being screwed out of his title shot.
That's right.
I mean, I know
maybe it'll play off next week.
We'll see. I know it's only the prestigious European title, but still. Vince was screaming at his attorneys, "You wrote it. Find a way to break it." Groz versus Rock.
You know how many times I'm sure Vince McMahon screamed that at his attorneys, including numerous Life Fund lawsuit. You wrote it. Find a way to break it. Well, they couldn't.
No.
Before you start, Vinny.
Yes?
Droz came out in full LOD face paint and shoulder pads.
Yes.
Can you imagine if somebody got this rub in the 80s from the Road Warriors.
It'd have been a bigger deal.
Absolutely.
A third Road Warrior, and yeah.
Nobody cared here.
Well, no.
Let me tell you what I noticed.
Yeah.
It took exactly 1 week, as we predicted, for them to fix Rock's fucking music.
That's true.
They didn't have that stupid song, and we said that last week.
We did, yes.
I said I guarantee next week he's not going to have that stupid music. Sure enough, he got his old music back.
Yes.
Like the 19th remix of the Nation of Domination theme.
Amazing. So what I got out of this is that, boy, Droz was really bad in this match.
He was horrible.
It's not just this match.
Well, he was worse than usual.
Well, he's okay if you put him in a tag match where there's 3 other guys to carry the load.
Sure.
A singles match, this was very ugly. This was an ugly, ugly match. And he looked like a robot.
Looked like a robot.
Looked like a big, robotic, jacked up robot.
The jumping back elbow off the ropes landed right on Rock's mouth. You can tell how pissed Rock was. I don't blame him. And then, maybe because Droz was so bad in this match, Rock just beat him up for a while, hit the rock bottom, people's elbow, pinned him.
Well, you missed the key spot before his comeback. Droz climbs up to the middle rope. He's going to do a giant diving shoulder tackle with his
right.
football background, and he flies through the air, and Rock just steps out of the way. And Droz fucking crashes like the world's biggest geek. And then Rock did hit the people's elbow, and
Huge pop for the finish.
still not facing a hard cam.
No.
He faces the ramp for some reason, so they have to use a camera on the floor to film it.
You got to watch your back.
Place went nuts, and that was the match.
Hawk and Droz got into a shoving match, and Animal and Droz left together with Hawk alone in the ring.
Oh, man.
I don't
He hasn't
remember-
fallen off the Titantron yet, has he?
No.
I believe the fall of Titantron is the last time we see him on Raw.
Man. I'm not sure.
I'm not-
There are so many things that I think are the last time I saw somebody
Yeah.
on Raw, and they just keep coming back.
Yeah, that is true. Michael Cole tried to interview Austin. Austin briefly checked with what we would assume is his attorney. He leaned into the room and talked to somebody and said, "I've been advised not to speak yet, but I will have a statement later."
That was Shane McMahon, dude.
In front of the
Oh,
people.
yeah, that too. He said the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac would be performing with Motley Crue.
Well,
What?
they were right.
Technically?
That is what happened. Talk about bizarre.
McMahon's lawyers left the office shaking their heads saying, he just doesn't get it.
He just doesn't understand. He just doesn't get it.
And I bet this also happened a dozen
I'm
times.
sure it has a million times.
So DX was hanging out with Motley Crue backstage. Then the Outlaws did their entrance, introduced Motley Crue, and went backstage. And I thought this would actually be what counts as performing with them.
No.
So Crue comes out to do Wild Side, a song that was 11 years old by this point.
They should have done Livewire on Livewire.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Vince Neil had a shirt that said "fucker" on it, so they put black tape over
We
the U.
think it could have been a Meet the Fockers shirt, and they just put a big.
That wasn't out yet, Brian.
Just go with it.
This was not edited well. His shirt.
Are we sure that it wasn't like the Steve Austin shirt that said "Fock Fear"?
So maybe like a picture,
Remember that one?
They printed a picture of tape where the U should be.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened. So they're doing this song.
Feck, fack. Could have been anything. Could have been. I don't know.
I actually do. I did get a refrigerator magnet from my sister-in-law that says "feck."
See?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a refrigerator shirt. Did you say refrigerator? Magnet. Well, a magnet goes on a refrigerator.
Refrigerator shirt. For that refrigerator that needs a little
Well,
more
what the hell's
insulation.
feck then? It's a refrigerator. It's a magnet, right?
Yes. It's
That goes on a refrigerator.
Yeah,
so it's a logo for something. What's feck?
feck is an Irish slang for fuck.
Well, maybe he was in Ireland.
There you go.
Grabbed himself that shirt.
Regardless, they're doing this song, and then out come the Outlaws and X-Pac, and they're crotch-chopping and dancing. And Road Dogg and X-Pac had the hair and the energy to pull this off, and there's Billy just trying his best to play air guitar.
Dude.
It's one of those things where I'm sure, like, in the moment, in 1998, when they were super over, it was like, man, look at how awesome this is.
Now-
Looking at it today, like, look at these geeks.
The guy that I don't try to stand next to at concerts is a guy that is playing air guitar by himself.
Yeah. Really, anywhere in life, that's probably a good rule.
Billy Gunn and
Guy in the
I
mall.
can
the golf
never
course.
hang out.
You don't say.
No.
I don't see you and Billy Gunn having a lot in common.
Well, he did ask to see my backside.
That's true. He did want you to moon him. Anyway, they sang. There was some pyro. And then a fan appeared on the ramp, and a bodyguard picked him up and carried him away. And that would be Test in his Raw debut.
Now, they said they did this on Livewire, on Saturday Night Heat as well.
Yeah. Probably the exact
Sunday
same
night.
song, exact same spot.
So what's up with Test? Like, he was a legit roadie.
Sure.
Was he a legit roadie here, and he later became a wrestler?
I don't think so.
Or was he a wrestler, and he just went back to his roadie ways for his debut?
I'm pretty sure they had him signed and trained and ready to go, and to debut him, they pretended he was Motley Crue's bodyguard.
My memories of Test are lean, with a few exceptions.
This is all to plug, by the way, Motley Crue's greatest hits album. So at least that explains why they did an 11-year-old song.
Their first greatest hits album.
Their first greatest hits album. Vince was outraged at his attorneys for not getting their jobs done. Kane versus Gangrel.
Oh, my Lord almighty. I'm watching Raw in 2017, and Kane's out there squashing Finn Balor.
Yeah.
I go back 19 years, Kane comes out, he's squashing Gangrel.
Vampires, demons.
It is absolutely amazing. Like, Kane's still out there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted, he's got a full bodysuit and a mask and a wig.
Oh, yeah.
But he looks exactly the same. Like, nothing has changed. He moves the same physique. It's mind-blowing.
That wig has got to go.
And let me tell you something about this Gangrel. Like, we're not watching the pay-per-views, and we're not watching any of these other shows. We only watch Raw.
Thank God.
This fucking guy is just like a geek.
He loses a lot.
He's been around for, 2 months now?
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen him come out, spit a little bit of blood, and now he's just a jobber.
I think
with his cronies.
I think he won one time on Raw and then has just lost and gotten beat up since then.
Yeah.
Take this match, for example, where Kane beat him and beat him and beat him. Christian interfered. Kane beat him and beat him and beat him. And then Kane pinned Gangrel with a chokeslam. Complete squash.
This was very similar to that Finn Balor match, now that I really think about it.
Except
there was only one chokeslam here instead of 3.
They did mention, I think they said Kane's the first guy, but he is in the 16-man tournament at Survivor Series.
Earlier, they did mention Rock's in there.
I see. So,
while also mentioning that he's the #1 contender. Shouldn't he just get the title?
or at least go to the finals.
Something.
Yeah. So, Christian and Gangrel jump Kane, and they're beating him up for a while. He starts to make a comeback, and then Edge appears and chop blocks him. So now there's 3 vampires.
Turning heel.
Inexplicably.
Unless he was a heel. I don't even remember.
He was feuding with Gangrel and Christian.
Yeah, did I miss a whole bunch of storylines?
Yeah. We've missed a lot only watching Raw.
No.
Nowadays, you miss nothing if you only watch Raw. But back then...
Mm-hmm. I don't think this was ever... I was watching every show, and the vampires were my buddy Jim's favorites, so I knew all about what was going on with them.
Well, it just goes to show you that blood is thicker than water.
Oh, hey, there you go.
And all vampire jokes suck.
Any more?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Anyway, there's 3 guys there. Kane still did the zombie sit-up and chased them away.
What an impotent group of geeks.
We're not doing very well.
No.
Steve Austin came out for a promo. If you told me this entrance right here was the absolute peak of Austin Mania, I would have believed you.
Well, let me tell you something. It's not.
No, but the reaction was insane. So Austin explained. He outright told the cops his gun was a toy, and it was. He said Vince wouldn't feel any pain, and Vince didn't. So he had been telling the truth the whole time. Then he revealed he had a new contract with the WWF, and the contract included 1 title shot. Out came Vince with the attorneys. Says, we can't do anything about your legal document, but I am going to find a way to make you quit. Very casually confirmed, Austin had been rehired. This is news to Ross. So, first Vince's first plan to get Austin to quit was to book him in an I Quit match against Ken Shamrock. Then he began to tear up. How could you do what you did to get that contract? What you've done is turn a relatively incompetent, underachieving kid into a monster. So out comes Shane McMahon. And Vince calls him to the stage, but Shane goes to the ring. And this is what I was referring to earlier when I said we got chapter 20 of a 20-chapter story right here.
This goddamn thing went on forever. Shane's out there. He's practically weeping. He's begging for his father's
Before
attention.
you even get that, our exposure to Shane, there was like one time he tried to talk Vince out of fighting. Other than that, he's been a spastic commentator who really loved Pops.
Yeah.
There was never a hint of bitterness
No.
or jealousy or
No.
resentment.
Well, he explained it a little bit in this promo, kind of.
He did say he had been lying.
Well, he said that, and he also said that with Vince, it's all about, what was the word he used? It's all about the, putting on airs.
I see.
It's all about,
Well,
what the hell word did he use? God damn it, I didn't write it down. His dad said it's all about creating an illusion, or something like that. Or it's about, you know what I mean? Help me out here. It's about, you know what I mean, Vince?
Why don't I read my notes here? We'll see if it comes up.
I don't think it's gonna. You'll surely fuck it up.
Thank you, Brian. So Shane explains he's an officer and a stockholder with the company, and what Vince had done was
It's not
wrong.
that.
He said he was the one who had hired Austin back. After 28 years, he finally had Vince's attention. He had been lying about the relationship to protect the family name for 28 years, but he's done. His grades, his athletics, his business money, never enough for Vince. All he wanted was for Daddy to be proud of him.
Image.
That's the word you were
Vince
looking for.
always talked to him about the image that you put out there. Image. You know what I mean?
I can confirm I did not write that word
That's
down.
what I thought. I knew it, but I heard it. So the point is, like, he's been out there acting like he's the happy son of Vince McMahon all this time, but in reality, there's been nothing but strife. And there's been a lot that he's been holding up inside him for all these years. He's been trying, like on commentary. You think he went backstage and Vince said, hey, son, great job on commentary, kid. Never. Not one time. He's been trying and trying. He's putting over his pops and his family. I'm doing a much better job than Shane did.
Yeah.
He was so whiny and so unlikable. Nobody's cheering.
No.
And he does his whole spiel. And he gets done, and it's just dead silence. There's an awkward silence. And then Steve Austin, what did he say? If you think Vince deserved, or no, he goes, if you think Vince got what he deserves, give me a hell yeah.
Yeah.
But the way Steve said it, this was the best thing on the whole show. It's so awkward that Steve Austin says it in a way where he's a little bit embarrassed and he's just kind of trying to break the ice a little bit.
You're
Like,
not wrong.
It's just so quiet. Well, if you think Vince got what he deserved, give me a hell yeah. They'll go, yeah. I'm like, this is such a strikeout.
It failed.
It's such a strikeout.
Yeah. Fans did not know what to make of this non-Austin stuff, and they were quiet until Austin told them to cheer. We go to break. When they come back, Shane is leaving. Austin tosses him a beer.
You know what is funny about this whole Shane McMahon thing? What is ironic about it? This storyline is that Vince never cared about his son, and he never did anything for him. He never gave him any attention. It was always about Vince. This whole goddamn storyline is about getting Shane over.
This whole storyline was last year's WrestleMania.
This whole
It was.
storyline, like, Austin's got to endorse the guy. Who has Austin ever thrown a beer to? Austin hates everybody, but he respects young Shane. Remember who bought WCW? Shane McMahon. They tried over and over with Shane. It just never worked. And this was the first time it really didn't work.
Tiger Ali Singh versus The Godfather.
This guy sucks.
If you're
Listen.
wondering why it took them another 2 decades to try an Indian superstar, Tiger Ali screwed it up for the entire country.
But do you know what's funny about this?
No.
I'm not going to pretend this was a good match.
Thank you.
This completely sucked, okay? It was horrible. But I'm not sure that Jinder Mahal is better than Tiger Ali
Oh,
Singh.
come on now.
No.
Dude.
That's not
on
fair.
No.
That's
May I
not
start
fair.
watching these shows, Vinny? You don't even get a vote. You're not even watching the show.
I watched him
I
live.
watch them. Yeah, one match. Who do you
Hey,
wrestle?
He didn't wrestle.
Yeah, bad example.
He didn't wrestle,
Bad
you
example.
idiot.
Yeah. I've seen, he's not new.
He's so clunky and mechanical.
Jinder Mahal's been around for 3 or 4 years.
At best, he's been around for over a decade.
Point is, I've seen him a lot. I wrote, Jinder Mahal at his worst was 100 times better than Tiger Ali Singh.
Oh, man. No.
So Tiger comes out.
If anything, they're equal.
No. You're factually wrong.
No, I'm talking in the ring. I'm not talking like their promos and everything. Jinder is way better. He's got way better presence, and he's got way better promos than Tiger Ali Singh. but mechanically in the ring, they aren't that far off.
Craig, your opinion?
Brian, you're wrong.
No.
You are so wrong.
You numbskulls.
Did any of you
Get
catch,
outta
by the
here.
way? The announcers were talking over it, so it's hard to hear, but I went back to check, and it's true. Tiger Ali Singh's hometown in this match? The continent of Asia.
Oh, wow.
It's a big house.
They narrowed it down to 17 million square miles.
Sure.
Well, he's rich.
Oh, they're having this just
See,
horrendous
the problem is
brawl.
this match was terrible.
It was an
It's
awful
Godfather versus Tiger Ali
Just
Singh.
so bad.
It sucked.
Then they did my new worst finish of all time. Apparently happened on SmackDown again tonight, because whenever it happens, I hear about it. Somebody gets disqualified for kicking too much ass. This time, as they have spent several minutes boring the crowd, which is now doing the wave to amuse themselves, and then both men are disqualified for kicking too much ass.
Yeah, that's what happened. They got into a brawl.
I turned on this show to see guys fight. And then when guys got in a fight, they got disqualified for fighting.
Yeah. This was Death TV.
Like,
not gonna lie.
I had so strongly mixed reactions because I was so happy the match was over, but so angry because of why.
I was just happy the match was over.
Worst match on Raw 98, I wrote.
Well, I don't know about that. Does that count Brawl for All?
Oh, most Brawl for Alls are way better than this.
What do you mean both? We lost like
Most.
15 matches.
Most, I said.
Well, that means there are some that were worse.
May have said both. Michael Cole asked Vince, "How do you feel?"
He was devastated.
Vince just asked him to repeat the question and left. In a match I am not making up, Kaientai versus Kurgan and Golga and the Insane Clown Posse.
Yes. I was fixing to be so mad in this match. But then what I was so mad about, it made sense in the end. Because the Oddities come out, and the place just goes crazy for them. They're dancing, they're singing, they love them. ICP tags in, the place is just going crazy. ICP proceeds to cheat. They're like Jimmy Valiant. Every move they do is cheating.
Yes.
I'm like, why are you fuckers cheating? Like, you're the baby faces,
They're
right?
insane and they're clowns.
Well, turns out they cheated and they cheated and they cheated, and then they threw down the ref and they were DQ'd, and the Oddities were mad at them for screwing up the match.
Yes.
Now, I don't know why. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but at least at the end of the day, the story worked. They were cheating, they got DQ'd, and the baby faces got mad at them. They are insane clowns.
I believe Violent J was the best worker on his team.
For sure. Well,
One of
you
the
know.
better workers on the show. In fact, of the past two matches, well, Kaientai.
Golga is a good worker, but he's forced to be
Golga.
here.
Yeah.
This is not the Kaientai that was on Barely Legal.
No,
Okay.
but I'm still, I believe.
Well, it is.
It is, but it isn't.
No.
They're still better than Violent J. I like
fair.
I like Violent J. He's not as good a wrestler as Taka Michinoku. Debate?
No.
Okay. Anyway, yes. The clowns tagged in, cheated a lot, got intentionally DQ'd. This made the freaks mad, so the clowns left.
I don't know if they were intentionally DQ'd. They just got really mad at the ref. They threw him down.
So you think they were surprised when the ref disqualified them for throwing him
I
down?
think, yes, it's possible.
I'm sticking with my theory of they got themselves disqualified.
Well, usually when you get intentionally disqualified, it's because the heel's getting his ass kicked, and so he gets disqualified to save himself or something.
You're right.
These clowns were kicking ass,
Yes.
and they just threw that ref down because he was in the way.
The ref was in the way of their fun.
Did
Yeah.
they protest the disqualification?
They didn't give a shit. They celebrated like they won
Again,
because they're insane clowns.
Because they did it on purpose.
Craig's right here
They may play it like the entire Shane promo.
because they thought it was good.
Vince is being wheeled out of the building. The Stooges promise Mr. McMahon they will take care of Austin, and he'll quit before the night is over. And as he's getting in the limo and their windows rolling up, I'm not sure who it is, but one of them just says, "Bye, Vince."
Pretty sure that would have been Briscoe. Although he would have said Mr. McMahon, so now I don't know.
Mhm. Cole interviewed Shamrock.
I think Patterson always calls him Vince.
I think it's probably Pat, yeah. Shamrock promised Austin Shamrock Proston.
Prostate?
Jesus Christ. Shamrock
You want me to
promised
read it?
Austin, there we go, that he would make him say "I quit."
Because he didn't watch Raw and have to recap Paul Heyman's tongue twister.
Shamrock also told Austin to knuckle up.
The brand that brags Brock.
Ooh.
3 times fast.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. Not a chance.
He didn't fuck it up one time. It's
He's Paul
impressive.
Heyman.
Yeah.
I'm Vinny V.
Yeah.
That discussion's over.
Ratings through the
We
roof
should add.
would be through the roof if Paul Heyman was on this show.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Shamrock said, let's knuckle up.
Yeah.
But they do not have to put their hair up.
Thank God.
No.
Neither of them.
Did either of you catch, by the way, Hulk Hogan on Twitter saying, I think it's time to go with that stone cold haircut?
No, it was time 10 years ago.
30 years ago.
He's finally going to shave his head.
That's what he said.
What in the hell took so
He
goddamn
finally
long?
realized, you know what? I think I'm going bald.
Can you
What in the fuck took
Can you-
so goddamn long?
Can you imagine Hogan coming to Locks of Love and dropping off the skullet? Sir, this isn't... Okay, we'll just take it.
Thank you, Mr. Balea. Mark Mero versus Goldust.
He probably sat down in that barber chair one day and they went to just bleach that fucking ugly haircut again. He was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Probably right.
I'm in my mid-60s. This is fucking stupid. What a waste of my time.
Mark Mero versus Goldust. Goldust sets up Mero for the Shattered Dreams kick. Jacqueline slaps him. Not a DQ. Goldust kisses her. Not a DQ. Goldust kicks Mero in the balls. This is a DQ. Intentional disqualification in back-to-back matches.
It's one of those things where I'm watching the show, and of all the times for Whitney to walk into the room, it's right there where Goldust has just kissed Jackie, then he grabs his junk, then he kicks a dude in the balls, and then Sable's huge tits come out. She's like, what are you watching? I was like, this is my job.
So, as Brian noted, Sable's huge tits did
That's
appear.
all true.
Yeah.
I'm not making anything up here.
Everything he said was accurate. Sable's huge tits challenged Jacqueline to a match at Survivor Series and promised there would be a new women's champ.
There's two women.
I was happy that they didn't all take their clothes off for once.
There's two women in this division.
Yes.
Two.
Yes. Teasing the arrival of a third. Cole interviewed Mankind and Al Snow, and they argued about what was stupider, Mr. Socko or Head. And the answer is Head.
Yeah. Not even close.
Then we had the New Age Outlaws versus Mankind and Al Snow. Mankind also in the Survivor Series tournament,
Mankind also coming out before Al Snow, the big star of the match.
I guess. Billy Gunn pressed Al over his head, and it was so easy that while he had him up there, he said, I'm going to dance a jig.
Yeah, he was on one leg at one point.
He was pretty excited about that Motley Crue concert.
I guess so. I also like when he says, wham, every time he throws a punch. So I got heated on Road Dogg a bit.